Chapter 1. What are idioms? Have you ever heard someone say, "It's raining cats and dogs"? You probably looked outside, but saw no cats, no dogs, just rain. That's the magic of idioms. They add color, fun, and hidden meaning to the English language. Idioms are not just words. They are special phrases that don't mean exactly what they say. Instead, they have a secret meaning that native speakers understand. For example, if someone says, "break a leg," they don't want you to get hurt. They're actually wishing you good luck. That's an idiom. It's different from literal expressions like "open the door," which means exactly what it says. But idioms like "hit the books" don't mean hitting anything. It simply means to study hard. Idioms are common in everyday English. Native speakers use them in conversations, movies, and even news reports. But for English learners, idioms can be very confusing. You hear "spill the beans" and you wonder, what beans? What happened? In reality, it means to tell a secret. That's why learning idioms is important. They help you understand native speakers better and also make your English sound more natural and expressive. When you learn idioms, you go beyond basic words. You understand the heart of the language. You speak with feeling, culture, and rhythm. Idioms can be tricky at first, but once you learn a few, they become fun. So don't worry if they don't make sense right away. With time and practice, you'll start using them with confidence. And soon, you'll be speaking English that's not only correct, but colorful too. Chapter 2. Why idioms are essential for fluency. And that's when I realized I didn't understand what she said, even though I knew every word. She looked at me, smiled, and said, "Don't worry, it's not rocket science." I paused. I knew what rocket meant. I knew what science meant. But I didn't understand the meaning of the full sentence. That's when it hit me. English is more than just grammar and vocabulary. It's full of hidden meanings. It's full of idioms. And if I want to understand real conversations, I must understand idioms. Why are idioms essential for fluency? Because native speakers use them all the time without even thinking. When you listen to real English, TV shows, YouTube videos, podcasts, or conversations on the street, you'll hear people say things like "hit the road," "let the cat out of the bag," or "under the weather." These phrases don't follow normal rules. You can't guess their meaning word by word. You have to learn them as whole expressions. If you don't know them, you'll feel lost, even if your grammar is perfect. But if you do understand idioms, you'll suddenly feel fluent. You'll hear a sentence and understand the real meaning behind the words. It's like opening a secret door in English. Idioms also make your own speaking and writing more alive. Imagine this. Someone says, I'm tired, that's okay. But what if they say, I'm running on fumes? That paints a picture. You don't just understand the meaning, you feel it. It's more emotional, it's more real. That's the power of idioms. They add depth, energy, and personality to your English. Instead of sounding like a textbook, you sound like a real person. You sound fluent, expressive, and natural. Let's look at a real conversation. Two friends are talking. Predindle A. How's your new job? B. It's good, but I'm still learning the ropes. A. Yeah, it always takes a while. Just hang in there. In this short exchange, we have two idioms, learning the ropes and hang in there. The first one means to learn how things work, especially in a new place. The second one means to stay strong and keep going, even when it's hard. If you don't know these idioms, the conversation sounds strange. But if you do, everything becomes clear and friendly. You not only understand the words, you understand the feeling. Now imagine watching a movie. The hero is about to give up, but his friend says, "Don't throw in the towel yet." This is an idiom from when a fighter is too tired to continue, their coach throws a towel into the ring to stop the fight. So throw in the towel means to quit. When you understand that, the scene becomes powerful. You feel the emotion. You connect with the characters. That's why idioms are everywhere in media, because they help us express emotion quickly. Even in books, idioms are everywhere. Let's say you read, after losing the deal, Mark was feeling blue. It doesn't mean his skin turned blue. It means he was sad. If you don't know the idiom feeling blue, you miss the emotion. That's why idioms are like keys. They unlock the real meaning behind simple words. So they hear but feel the story. Another great example is music. In English songs, idioms are very common. A famous song might say, "You can't have your cake and eat it too." What does it mean? It means you can't enjoy two opposite things at the same time. You must make a choice. This idiom shows up in many songs, poems, and stories. It expresses life lessons in just a few words. That's why idioms are like poetry, small but full of meaning, and the best part? When you start using idioms in your own speech, you'll feel more confident. You'll feel like English is not just a subject, it's part of you. For example, instead of saying, "I agree with you," you might say, "We're on the same page." Instead of "I don't know," you might say, "I'm in the dark." These small changes make a big difference. They show that you're not just learning English, you're living it. But yes, learning idioms can be tricky. You can't just translate them word by word. You have to learn them in context. That's why it's good to hear them in real life. Conversations, shows, books. And you don't need to memorize 100 idioms at once. Just learn a few. Use them, speak them, feel them. Over time, they will become natural. Let me share one more moment from my journey. I was talking with an American friend, and I said something simple. She smiled and said, "Wow, you really hit the nail on the head." I laughed. "What nail?" I asked. She explained, "It means I said something exactly right." That moment stayed with me. It was not just a new phrase. It was a new way to feel confident. Idioms are not just decorations. They are tools. They are shortcuts to emotions. They connect people. They make your English colorful, funny, sad, exciting, all at the same time. Without them, English feels flat. With them, English becomes alive. And here's one more reason idioms are essential. They help you think like a native speaker. When you hear "I'm broke," you don't picture something broken. You understand it means I have no money. Your brain stops translating. It starts thinking in English. And that's the real goal of fluency. Not just understanding words, but thinking in the language. So if you want to become fluent, not just correct, but confident, start learning idioms. Notice them in movies. Listen for them in music. Read them in stories. Try to use them in your next conversation. Don't be afraid to sound silly. Every new idiom you learn is one step closer to real fluency. In the end, idioms are not just phrases. They are feelings, stories, and experiences. They are the flavor in the soup, the color in the painting, the joke in the conversation. So keep your ears open, your mind curious, and your words playful. Idioms will guide you, surprise you, and help you sound more like a native speaker than you ever thought possible. Chapter 3: Unlocking the Secrets of Idioms. So, after learning just how powerful idioms can be, I started paying more attention. Suddenly, I was hearing my teacher said, "Let's call it a day," and I smiled because now I knew that meant we were finished. A friend texted, "Fingers crossed for your interview," and I understood she wasn't talking about her hands. She was wishing me good luck. That's when I knew it was time to start unlocking the secrets of idioms one by one. Let's begin with some idioms you'll hear almost every day. Imagine this. You're planning a picnic, and someone says, "Don't worry, it's a piece of cake." Now, this doesn't mean you'll be eating cake. It means the task is very easy. Or someone might say, "I'm all ears," which doesn't mean their body is covered in ears. It means they are listening carefully. Another fun one is "costs an arm and a leg." If someone says that a phone costs an arm and a leg, they mean it's really expensive. These are the kinds of idioms that native speakers say naturally, but for learners, they can be confusing at first. The good news is, once you learn them, they're hard to forget. So, how can you understand idioms that you've never heard before? One strategy is context clues. Let's say you hear someone say, "We're in the same boat." You don't know the idiom yet, but they're talking about a problem at work. You notice that both of them are facing the same challenge. From the situation, you can guess that "in the same boat" means in the same situation. That's the power of paying attention to what's happening around the phrase. The context gives you the key. Another helpful strategy is word association. Many idioms come from real-life experiences, old stories, or even sports. If someone says, "that was a home run," and you know it's a baseball term, you can guess it means something was a big success. Or if someone says, "don't throw me under the bus," and you imagine someone blaming you or making you look bad, you're close. It means someone betrayed or blamed another person to protect themselves. Associating the image with the situation helps you remember what it means. And sometimes idioms come from culture. That's where things get even more interesting and a little tricky. Some idioms only make sense when you understand where they come from. For example, in American English, you might hear Monday morning quarterback. This comes from American football and means someone who criticizes or gives advice after something has already happened. You'll mostly hear this in the US. In the UK, you might hear a storm in a teacup, meaning a big fuss about something small. In American English, that same idea is called making a mountain out of a molehill. So even though the idea is the same, the idioms are different. This is why learning idioms is not just about the language. It's about learning the culture too. Idioms show what people care about, what they joke about, and how they see the world. For example, "the ball is in your court" comes from tennis. It means it's your turn to make a decision. It shows how sports or barking up the wrong tree comes from hunting, when a dog chased the wrong animal. Now it means someone is blaming the wrong person or looking in the wrong place. There are also idioms connected to food, animals, weather, things that people deal with every day, like spill the beans to tell a secret, or cold feet to feel nervous, under the weather to feel sick. These idioms bring everyday life into speech. And the more you live in English, the more you'll feel them become part of your natural expression. Let me give you a few more idioms with stories. One day, I was nervous about speaking in public. A friend said, "just break the ice." I thought, "ice? Where?" But she meant I should start with something simple to make people feel relaxed. That helped me not just understand the idiom, but use it. I said a small joke. People laughed. The room felt warm. That's when I saw that idioms are not just fun. They're useful. Another time, I was late to class. The teacher said, "better late than never." She smiled, and I understood she wasn't angry. That phrase is kind. It means even if you're late, it's good that you came. Moments like these help you feel the meaning of idioms, not just translate them. When idioms live in your memory like this, you begin to speak differently. You start saying things like, "I'm swamped today," instead of "I'm busy." Or "let's play it by ear" instead of "let's decide later." Your language becomes more flexible, more real. you begin to enjoy English more because now you're not just repeating rules, you're telling stories. You're sharing emotions. You're connecting. Here's another tip. Write idioms in your notebook, but don't stop there. Write a sentence, or better, write a short story using the idiom. For example, if you learn the idiom pull someone's leg, which means to joke or tease, write a short story yesterday. My friend said we had a test today. I panicked, but then he laughed and said he was just pulling my leg. This helps the idiom stick. The story makes it yours. You can also learn idioms by watching shows and listening to native speakers. Listen carefully. When you hear a strange phrase, pause. Ask, what does this mean? What is happening in this scene? What emotion is being shared? Is it funny, serious, sad? These clues will guide you. And finally, don't be afraid to use idioms. Yes, you might say them wrong at first. That's okay. Every speaker makes mistakes, even native speakers. But using idioms, even imperfectly, is a sign of growth. It means you are moving from basic communication to deeper expression. It means you are not just learning English, you are becoming part of it. So keep unlocking these secrets. Keep looking behind the words. Each idiom you learn opens a new door. You'll hear them in songs, shows, and stories. You'll use them in conversations. They'll make your English not just understandable, but unforgettable. And soon, you'll find yourself saying things like, I'm over the moon, or it's not my cup of tea without even thinking. That's when you know you've started thinking like a native speaker. And that's a beautiful step in your English journey. Chapter 4, Mastering Idiom Usage. After I understood how idioms worked and how they gave English its color and personality, I wanted to do more than just recognize them. I wanted to use them, not just in listening and reading, but in speaking and writing. That's when a new part of my journey began, learning how to use idioms naturally. Not forced, not awkward, but smoothly. And that's what I want to help you do now, step by step, word by word. The first thing I discovered was this: you don't need to memorize 100 idioms in 1 week. That's not fluency, that's pressure. Real fluency comes from using just a few idioms again and again until they become a part of your daily speech. So here's a tip: pick 5 idioms you like, just 5. Maybe from a video, a podcast, or a friend. Write them down. Learn what they mean. Then try using them that same week. 1 per day. Try 1 in a sentence. Try 1 in a message. Try 1 in a short conversation. When you use them, they stick. When you speak them, they live inside your memory. And don't worry about sounding strange. That's a fear we all have. But using idioms doesn't mean you need to be dramatic. It's about finding the right moment. For example, instead of saying, I'm very tired, you say, I'm running on fumes. It sounds natural when you say it in a relaxed way. Practice it while talking to a friend, a teacher, or even to yourself in the mirror. And remember, even native speakers don't use idioms all the time. They use them where they fit. That's what you're learning too. Another way to make idioms feel natural is to connect them to your own life. Make a personal sentence. If you learn a blessing in disguise, think of a time when something bad turned out good. Maybe you missed a bus but then met someone important while waiting. That's your story. Use it. Say, missing that bus was a blessing in disguise. When you link idioms to real memories, they become part of you, not just something you studied. Now, let's talk about learning new idioms. One of the best tools you can use is a learner's dictionary. Many English dictionaries have special idiom sections. They don't just give the meaning. They also give example sentences. And example sentences are gold. They show you how real people use idioms. Try the Cambridge Learner's Dictionary or the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. Type in an idiom and you'll see clear, simple meanings with real usage. That's how you build understanding. And of course, there are great online idiom websites too. Idioms, the free dictionary. Come is one. It gives meanings, examples, and even tells you where the idiom comes from. That helps when the idiom is strange, like kick the bucket. It means to die, but if you don't know the history, it sounds confusing. When you read the background, it makes more sense, and you remember it better. YouTube is also a great place to learn idioms in real context. Search for idioms in real English conversations or everyday English idioms. Watch how native speakers use them. Watch their faces, their tone, the situation. That helps you understand not just the words, but the feeling. And don't forget to pause and repeat. Shadowing is powerful. When you copy the speaker's tone and rhythm, the idiom becomes part of your voice. Now, here's something that changed the way I learned, writing mini dialogues. It's simple, but it works. Pick an idiom. Now create a short conversation where someone uses that idiom. For example, with bite the bullet, write this preend A, I'm afraid to go to the dentist. B, I know, but you have to bite the bullet, that's it. Short, real, easy to practice. And if you want to take it further, speak it out loud. Say both lines. Or practice with a friend. This kind of practice builds confidence. Here's another powerful tip. Keep an idiom journal. It doesn't need to be fancy. Just a notebook or a phone app where you write 3 things srimmed at 1. The idiom, 2. Its meaning, 3. A sentence or short story from your life. Every time you add a new idiom, read your old ones, review them once a week. Over time, this journal becomes your personal idiom library. And the best part? These idioms won't just live in your book. They'll start living in your conversations. And here's the real goal: using idioms in real life. That's when your learning becomes complete. So look for moments to use them. Maybe in a WhatsApp message. Maybe during a class. Maybe when you're writing an email. You can even use them on social media, Instagram captions, Facebook posts, comments. Try saying, feeling under the weather today instead of I'm sick. Try writing back to the drawing board if your plan didn't work. Every small use makes a big difference. Even better, turn English speaking into a daily habit and mix in idioms. If you have a speaking partner, tell them, let's practice 5 idioms today. Use one in each topic. Or ask each other questions. Sturden, tell me about a time you had to bite the bullet. Was there a moment in your life that was a blessing in disguise? These questions help you think, feel, and respond in English with idioms that make your answers shine. And if you don't have a speaking partner, no problem. Speak with yourself. Record your voice. Watch a video, pause it, and give your own opinion using an idiom. For example, after watching a scene in a movie, say, wow, that character really hit the nail on the head. This is solo practice, but it builds fluency fast. Let me share one moment I remember clearly. I was talking to a classmate during break. He said he was going to study all night for a test. I smiled and said, "Don't burn the midnight oil too much." He laughed and said, "Nice idiom." That one sentence gave me a new feeling. I was not just a learner. I was a speaker. I was part of the language. Moments like these matter. They remind you that idioms are not just phrases. They are your voice becoming fuller, richer, and more expressive. You're not just repeating English. You're living it. So take it step by step. Choose idioms you enjoy. Learn them with care. Practice them in small moments. Use tools like dictionaries and videos. Write stories, speak out loud. Use them in real life. Slowly, your English will feel less like study and more like connection, more like creativity, more like you, and that is how you master idioms, not by force, but by feeling. Not by memorizing, but by using. Let idioms be your bridge from basic speaking to beautiful speaking, from understanding to expressing, from learning English to living English. Chapter 5, from beginner to master. After practicing every day, writing my idiom journal, watching shows, using phrases like a piece of cake and spill the beans in real conversations, I started to feel different. Not just better at English, but more natural. Like English was no longer something outside of me. It was becoming part of who I was. And then something beautiful happened. I met others on the same journey. Learners like me, who started as beginners and slowly became masters of idiomatic English. Their stories, their mistakes, their courage, they inspired me, and I want to share a few with you. One of my closest friends in language class was Amina. When we first met, she was quiet. Her grammar was good, her vocabulary was okay, but she didn't like speaking. One day, our teacher used the idiom, "let the cat out of the bag," and Amina looked confused. After class, we talked. I explained it meant to reveal a secret. Her face lit up. The next day, she tried to use it. She told me my brother was planning a surprise party, but I let the cat out of the bag. It wasn't perfect, but it was bold. From that moment, Amina made it her mission to learn idioms. She created flashcards, practiced with friends, and even made a mini podcast sharing one idiom a day. 6 months later, she was leading discussions, using idioms with ease. Her English became full of color. She wasn't just correct, she was confident. And it all started with one phrase. Then there was Daniel, a student from Brazil. He loved movies, especially American ones. But he always felt lost when characters spoke quickly. I understood the words, he told me, but not the meaning. Then he started noting every idiom he heard in films. He would pause, rewind, write it down, and look it up. He even wrote short scenes using those idioms and acted them out alone in front of the mirror. Sounds simple, but it worked. Soon he was using phrases like jump the gun and hit the sack without thinking. His speaking became smoother, more expressive. He told me idioms were the bridge between textbook English and real-life English. These stories taught me something powerful. Mastering idioms is not just about memory, it's about courage, about using language in a way that feels alive. When you start using idioms, even one at a time, you begin to cross a line from being a learner to becoming a speaker. So how do you move from beginner to master like Amina and Daniel? You start with the right tools, and today we're lucky. We have so many. One great resource is the Idiom Connection website. It has hundreds of idioms listed by theme and meaning. It's easy to use, and you can search by word or topic like money, feelings, or work. Another favorite of mine is idiomsite.com. It's simple, clear, and perfect for beginners. If you like learning through apps, there are wonderful ones for idioms too. Quizlet lets you create idiom flashcards and test yourself. You can add your own examples, even record your voice. Then there's English Idioms and Phrases by Praveen Yuva on Android. It gives short meanings, example sentences, and lets you practice them in daily quizzes. For iPhone users, Idioms and Phrases Dictionary is another great one. It gives audio support so you can hear how idioms sound, not just read them. Books also help a lot, especially for those who like learning offline. One book I recommend is McGraw-Hill's American Idioms Dictionary. It's simple, useful, and full of real-life examples. Another is English Idioms in Use by Cambridge University Press. It's great for different levels and has exercises to help you practice in context. But don't just collect resources, use them. Make a daily habit. Learn one idiom each day. Use it in a sentence. Say it out loud. Write it in your journal. Try to spot it in movies, books, or songs. Speak it to a friend. Slowly, one idiom becomes 10. 10 become, and one day, you'll find yourself in a real conversation saying, Let's cross that bridge when we come to it without even thinking. I remember the first time I used an idiom in front of a native speaker without planning it. We were talking about a difficult assignment, and I said, well, it's no use crying over spilled milk. She laughed and said, wow, that's exactly right. That smile, that small moment, gave me more confidence than any grammar test ever did. Because in that moment, I wasn't just using English, I was living it. And that's what I want for you. Idioms are not just phrases in a book. They are pieces of culture, emotion, and expression. When you learn them, you learn more than English. You learn how people think, feel, and connect. You learn how to make jokes, show sympathy, share your feelings. You learn how to say more with fewer words. That's fluency. That's mastery. So here's my message to you. Don't be afraid of idioms. Don't say, they're too hard or I'll never use them. You can. Start small. Start now. Choose one idiom today. Look it up. Write it down. Say it out loud. Use it in a message or a voice note. Then do it again tomorrow. Build the habit. Practice the feeling. Take it step by step. It may feel slow at first. You may make mistakes. That's okay. Every speaker, even native ones, had to learn idioms too. They didn't know what break a leg meant until someone told them. They didn't know under the weather until they heard it in a story. You are not behind. You are just beginning a beautiful part of your journey. So let me ask you, what idiom will you learn today? What story will you tell with it tomorrow? Make it part of your world. Use it. Play with it. Let your English become bold, alive, and expressive. From beginner to master, the path is real. The steps are small. The reward is great. This is your moment. Step into it, speak it, live it. Because the more idioms you learn, the more doors you open in the language. And trust me, English has many beautiful doors. It's time to open them all.